The crystal champagne flute nearly slipped from Quinn Donovan's fingers when he first saw her, the dark-haired woman arranging bite-sized delicacies on silver platters across the room. Dressed simply in black pants and a crisp white shirt with pristine provisions embroidered over the pocket, she moved with an effortless grace that seemed completely out of place among the ostentatious decorations of his best friend's baby shower. As one of America's youngest tech billionaires, Quinn was accustomed to being the most interesting person in any room, but for once, his attention was utterly captured by someone who wasn't trying to impress anyone. Quinn. "You actually made it," called Marcus Chen, his college roommate turned Silicon Valley rival turned friend again, clapping him on the shoulder. "Thought you might bail on us for some emergency board meeting." Quinn tore his gaze away from the caterer. "Missed the chance to see you in full dad mode." "Never hilarious. Just wait until it's your turn," Marcus said, grinning. "Though that would require you to date someone for longer than your quarterly business reviews." Quinn winced at the well-aimed barb. At 33, his romantic history consisted primarily of strategic relationships that looked good in business publications and fizzled out once the cameras were gone. "I'm holding out for something real," he said, surprising himself with his honesty. "Well, Sophia's thrilled you're here," Marcus said, referring to his wife. "She's been stressed about this shower for weeks. Thank God for Nadia and her team. They saved us when our first caterer bailed 3 days ago." Quinn's interest peaked. Nadia, the owner of Pristine Provisions. "Dark hair, amazing chef. She's like a miracle worker. Came highly recommended from Sophia's sister." Marcus waved across the room at the woman Quinn had been watching. "That's her." When she looked up, Quinn experienced a sensation he hadn't felt since his first successful startup launch, a rush of adrenaline mixed with possibility. Her warm smile seemed to transform the pretentious Atherton mansion into somewhere more inviting. "I should probably say hello," Quinn said casually. "Since she saved your event," Marcus laughed. "You've got that look, the same one you had before you swooped in and bought that AI company out from under me." "I have no idea what you're talking about," Quinn replied, already moving across the room. Up close, Nadia was even more striking. Her dark hair was pulled back into a practical bun, revealing high cheekbones and expressive eyes. There was an intelligence in her gaze that Quinn found instantly compelling. "Everything looks delicious," he said, approaching her display of artfully arranged appetizers. She glanced up, a professional smile in place. "Thank you. The brie and fig crostini are particularly popular." "I'll have to try one then." Quinn selected an appetizer, their fingers almost brushing. "I'm Quinn Donovan, Marcus's friend." "Nadia Patel," she replied, her focus already shifting to adjusting a platter of stuffed mushrooms. "If you need anything, just let me know." It was the most perfunctory introduction Quinn had received in years. No recognition flickered in her eyes, no subtle change in posture that indicated she knew exactly who he was and what he was worth. Her indifference was strangely refreshing. "So, how long have you been in the catering business?" he asked, lingering despite her obvious busyness. 7 years with my own company," she answered, checking something off on a small notepad. "Excuse me, I need to check on the kitchen staff." She moved past him with efficient grace, leaving behind a subtle scent of vanilla and something spicy he couldn't identify. Quinn watched her go, an unfamiliar feeling settling in his chest. For the first time in recent memory, someone had walked away from him without trying to extend their conversation. "She shot you down cold," came an amused voice beside him. Sophia Chen, Marcus's wife, heavily pregnant and glowing, handed him a glass of sparkling water. "I've never seen that happen before." "She's just busy," Quinn defended. "Professional hum," Sophia hummed knowingly. "She's also single, incredibly talented, and not impressed by money, just FYI." Quinn raised an eyebrow. "I didn't ask. You didn't have to." "I know that face," Sophia said. "Come on, help me open some of these ridiculous gifts people brought. I swear, if I get one more designer baby outfit that can only be worn once." The next hour passed in a blur of pastel wrapping paper and polite conversation with people he barely knew. Quinn found himself constantly aware of Nadia's movements around the room as she directed her small staff with quiet authority. Whenever she entered a section of the room, the atmosphere seemed to improve. Guests responded to her warmth and the excellent food she provided. When the formal part of the shower concluded, Quinn made his way to the kitchen under the pretense of getting more water. He found Nadia directing her team as they prepared for the next course. "Can I help you find something?" she asked, noticing him hovering in the doorway. "Just getting some water," he said, holding up his empty glass. "But since I'm here, I wanted to compliment you on the catering. Everything's been fantastic." Her professional smile softened slightly. "Thank you. It's nice when people notice the details." "The mini lamb chops with that mint sauce were incredible," he continued, leaning against the doorframe. "I've eaten at restaurants all over the world, and that sauce was something special." For the first time, he saw genuine pleasure in her expression. "Family recipe. My grandmother taught me when I was 8. A young man in a pristine provisions uniform approached. "Nadia, we've got a situation with the dessert display. Mrs. Chen's cousin's kids got into the chocolate fountain." Nadia's eyes widened. "Excuse me," she said to Quinn, already moving past him. He followed her to the dessert table, where 2 small children were covered in chocolate, giggling as their horrified mother tried to clean them. The chocolate fountain had been mercifully turned off, but not before splattering the pristine white tablecloth. "I'm so sorry," the mother was saying, her face flushed with embarrassment. Nadia assessed the situation with remarkable calm. "No harm done," she assured the woman. "Kids will be kids. Let's get them cleaned up and we'll reset the display." Quinn watched as she knelt down to the children's level. "Did you guys enjoy the chocolate?" she asked, her voice warm rather than scolding. The children nodded solemnly. "Well, next time let's use the strawberries to dip in it, okay? It's even more delicious that way." Within minutes, she had her team replacing the tablecloth and resetting the display while she personally helped the mother clean chocolate from the children's faces and clothes. "That was impressive," Quinn said when she returned to the kitchen. "Most caterers I've seen would have been furious." Nadia shrugged. Getting upset wouldn't fix anything. Besides, nobody got hurt and the kids were having fun. "Still, your composure was remarkable, very CEO-like," he observed. "I'm just the owner of a small business, not a CEO," she replied, checking something off her list. "Though I suppose the principles are the same, just on a much smaller scale." "Sometimes smaller scale means more hands-on, which requires more skill," Quinn said. "Running pristine provisions seems like it keeps you busy." "It does," she agreed, finally giving him her full attention. "And you, Mr. Donovan, what keeps you busy?" "You really don't know who I am?" he asked, genuinely curious. "Should I? Are you a celebrity chef I've failed to recognize?" The teasing lilt in her voice sent an unexpected thrill through him. "Hardly. I'm in tech, Donovation Technologies." She tilted her head. "The AI company, I think I read something about you in Forbes last year." "Probably," he admitted. "We went public 18 months ago. So you're what, a millionaire tech guy who's friends with Marcus from college," she guessed, gathering empty trays. Quinn laughed. "Close enough." For the remainder of the shower, Quinn found reasons to orbit near Nadia. He helped her staff clear plates when guests weren't looking, earning bemused glances from Marcus. When the event finally wound down, he found himself lingering as she supervised the cleanup. "Need a hand with anything?" he offered. "Don't you have a tech empire to run?" she asked, but her tone was light. "It runs itself on Saturdays," he replied. "Seriously, can I help?" Nadia studied him for a moment. "You can help carry those containers to the van if you want to make yourself useful." Together they loaded the catering van, and Quinn found himself enjoying the simple physical labor more than he had enjoyed his last charity gala. "Thank you for the help," Nadia said when they finished. "Not many guests offer to carry heavy trays. Not many caterers make food worth staying for," he countered. "Do you have another event tonight?" She shook her head. "This was the only one today, thankfully." "Then maybe we could grab a coffee." The words came out before he could overthink them. "Or dinner?" Nadia looked genuinely surprised. "You're asking me out?" "Yes, is that so hard to believe?" She laughed softly. A little. Men in suits who attend baby showers in Atherton mansions don't usually ask out the catering staff. I'm not asking out the catering staff, Quinn clarified. I'm asking out Nadia Patel, owner of Pristine Provisions, maker of the world's best mint sauce. A small smile played at her lips. I'm flattered, but I have a strict policy against dating clients. I'm not your client, Quinn pointed out. Marcus and Sophia are. A technicality, she said, but he could see she was wavering. One coffee, he pressed. That's all I'm asking for. She hesitated, then reached into her pocket and pulled out a business card. My cell is on there. Call me tomorrow. I can't promise anything, but maybe coffee. Quinn took the card, feeling ridiculously triumphant for such a small victory. I'll call you. As he watched her drive away, Marcus appeared at his side. Did you just help the caterer load her van? Maybe. You the guy who once had an assistant whose only job was to open doors for you. Quinn shrugged. People change. They sure do, Marcus agreed, looking thoughtful. You know, Sophia mentioned that Nadia's catering business is really taking off. She's been featured in some local magazines, turned down a Food Network opportunity because she didn't want the spotlight. Why are you telling me this? Because I know you, Q. You're intrigued by her because she didn't fall at your feet. Just remember, she's a real person, not a challenge to conquer. Quinn frowned. That's not fair. I just want to get to know her. Good, Marcus said, clapping him on the shoulder. Because Sophia would kill me if I let you break her new favorite caterer's heart. The next morning, Quinn called the number on Nadia's card. After 2 rings, her voice came through, slightly breathless. Pristine Provisions, Nadia speaking. It's Quinn Donovan, from the baby shower yesterday. There was a brief pause. I remember. Is this a bad time? He asked. No, I was just finishing a morning run. What can I do for you, Mr. Donovan? Quinn, he corrected. And hopefully you can agree to have coffee with me today. Another pause, longer this time. I'm free around 3. Perfect. There's a place called Andytown on Lawton Street that has great coffee. Does that work? I know it, she said. I'll see you at 3. Quinn arrived at the coffee shop 20 minutes early, a habit from his business meetings that he couldn't break. He chose a table by the window and found himself oddly nervous. When was the last time he'd been on a real first date? One that wasn't arranged by publicists or business associates. At exactly 3 o'clock, Nadia walked through the door. Her hair was down today, falling in soft waves past her shoulders, and she'd traded her catering uniform for jeans and a deep blue sweater. She looked younger, more relaxed, and even more beautiful. You found it, he said, standing as she approached. I come here sometimes, she admitted, sliding into the seat across from him. Their snickerdoodle cookies are amazing. Then we should definitely get some. Quinn waved over a barista and ordered coffee and cookies for both of them. So, Nadia said once they were alone again, now that you've successfully gotten me to coffee, what did you want to talk about? You, Quinn replied honestly. I want to know more about you and how you ended up running Pristine Provisions. She looked skeptical but began her story anyway. She'd graduated from culinary school with dreams of working in high-end restaurants, but quickly discovered she preferred the creativity and independence of catering. After years of working for others, she'd started her own company with savings and a small loan from her parents. It was terrifying at first, she admitted. I had exactly 3 clients and a kitchen I rented by the hour. My parents thought I was crazy to leave a steady job. But you proved them wrong, Quinn observed, eventually. The first 2 years were rough. I took any job that came my way, corporate lunches, retirement parties, kids' birthdays, slowly built a reputation and a client base. And now you're catering for Atherton mansions, Quinn said with a smile. Nadia laughed. That's actually new territory for me. Sophia's sister was a regular client who recommended me when their original caterer canceled. High society isn't usually my scene. Mine either, to be honest, Quinn confessed. I go because it's expected, not because I enjoy it. She raised an eyebrow. The billionaire tech CEO doesn't enjoy fancy parties. Somehow I find that hard to believe. Billionaire, Quinn repeated, surprised she knew the exact scale of his wealth. A flush colored her cheeks. I may have Googled you after you called. Donovation Technologies is bigger than I realized. Does that change things? He asked, suddenly worried. It makes me more curious about why you're sitting here with me instead of, I don't know, flying your private jet to Paris for dinner. First, I don't have a private jet, he clarified. And second, I'd rather be here with you than anywhere else right now. Their conversation flowed easily after that. Quinn found himself telling her about growing up as the socially awkward son of two mathematics professors, his early fascination with coding, and how he'd built his first company in his dorm room while Marcus urged him to come to parties instead. "So that's how you know Marcus?" she asked. "College roommates?" Quinn nodded. "He was the popular one, always trying to drag me out of my shell. We ended up starting our first companies around the same time, became competitors for a while, but stayed friends somehow. And now he's having a baby and you're—" She trailed off. "Building a company and asking beautiful caterers to coffee," he finished for her. The afternoon stretched into early evening. One coffee became two, cookies became a shared sandwich, and when the baristas began giving them pointed looks, they reluctantly agreed it was time to leave. "I had a really good time," Nadia said as they stood outside the coffee shop. "Much better than I expected." "High praise," Quinn laughed. "Can I see you again?" She hesitated. "Quinn, I should be honest with you. My business is everything to me right now. I'm in a growth phase, looking at expanding, hiring more staff. I don't have much time for whatever this might be." "I understand busy," he assured her. "Better than most, but I'd like to try anyway. Maybe dinner next weekend." After a moment, she nodded. "Okay, dinner. But I choose the restaurant." "Deal." When Quinn arrived at the address Nadia had texted him the following Saturday, he found himself standing in front of a tiny hole-in-the-wall Pakistani restaurant in a neighborhood his driver had seemed hesitant to enter. Inside, the decor was minimal, but the rich aromas made his mouth water immediately. Nadia was already seated at a corner table, waving him over. "This place has the best biryani in the city," she said by way of greeting, "and almost nobody knows about it. How did you find it?" he asked, settling in across from her. "The owner catered my cousin's wedding 8 years ago. I've been coming here ever since." Throughout the meal, Quinn was struck by how Nadia spoke with the staff in what he assumed was Urdu, laughing easily with the older woman who served their food. "You speak the language?" he asked, impressed. Nadia nodded. "My parents are from Karachi. They made sure I grew up speaking Urdu at home, even though I was born here." "That's amazing," Quinn said sincerely. "I barely managed to pass Spanish in high school." As they shared dishes family style, Nadia insisting on ordering for both of them, Quinn realized how long it had been since he'd had a meal without business being discussed or someone recognizing him. Here, he was just a man having dinner with a beautiful woman, anonymous and perfectly content. Their second date led to a third, a Sunday spent walking through Golden Gate Park, talking about everything from favorite books to dream vacations. By their fourth date, Quinn knew he was falling for her, and falling hard. "I need to show you something," he said one evening as they finished dinner at another of Nadia's favorite hidden restaurants. "Are you up for a drive?" She looked intrigued. "Where to? It's a surprise, but it's important to me." An hour later, they pulled up to a nondescript building in South San Francisco. Quinn used his key card to enter, leading Nadia through darkened hallways until they reached a large room filled with servers and technical equipment. "This is where it all started," he explained. "Donnovation's first real office. We've expanded to the gleaming headquarters downtown, but I keep this place operating. It reminds me of the beginning." Nadia walked around the room slowly. "Why did you want to show me this?" "Because this place is real," Quinn said. "The penthouse, the fancy restaurants, the business magazine covers those things happened after success was already assured. This is where I lived on ramen and caffeine, where I slept on that awful couch over there for 6 months straight because I couldn't afford both rent and server costs." She studied him in the dim light. "You're showing me the real you." "Trying to," he admitted. "Because I think I'm falling in love with you and I wanted you to see the person behind the Billionaire label." Her breath caught. "Quinn, you don't have to say anything," he said quickly. "It's too soon, I know, but I wanted to be honest." Nadia crossed the room to him, taking his hands in hers. It is too soon, and yet, I feel something for you that I've never felt before. It scares me. Why? He asked softly. Because our worlds are so different, because you could have anyone. Because my whole life is tied up in a business that's just a tiny speck compared to yours. Quinn shook his head. That's exactly why I'm drawn to you. You built something from nothing, just like I did. You care about quality and people, not just profits. The scale doesn't matter, the passion does. She looked up at him, vulnerability evident in her eyes. I'm afraid of getting lost in your world. Then we'll create our own, he promised. Their relationship deepened over the following weeks. Quinn attended one of Nadia's catering events as her assistant, earning laughs from her regular staff as he struggled to maintain the perfect serving position. In turn, Nadia sat in on one of his company presentations, watching with genuine interest as he outlined his vision for the future of AI technology. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Their first argument came when a tech blogger spotted them having dinner and published an article speculating about Quinn's new chef girlfriend. This is exactly what I was worried about, Nadia said, showing him the article on her phone. I've had 3 calls today from people asking if I'm leveraging our relationship for my business. I'm sorry, Quinn said, genuinely distressed. I can have my PR team issue a statement. That's not the point, she interrupted. The point is that your life comes with this level of scrutiny, and mine doesn't. I don't want to be known as Quinn Donovan's girlfriend instead of for my work. The argument didn't resolve that night, leaving both of them frustrated and worried. The next day, Quinn showed up at her commercial kitchen space with coffee and an idea. I've been thinking about what you said, he began, and you're right. The imbalance in our public profiles creates challenges, so I have a proposal. Nadia looked wary. What kind of proposal? I want to invest in pristine provisions as a silent partner. No publicity, no control, just capital to help you expand on your own terms. She immediately shook her head. No, I won't take your money. That would make things even more complicated. Then let me connect you with some independent investors I trust, Quinn countered. People who would value what you've built and help you grow without taking over. Your business deserves to thrive on its own merits. Nadia was quiet for a long moment. You do that. Help me find investors without being one yourself, of course, Quinn said. I believe in you and what you've built. I want to support you, not absorb you into my world. That night, as they lay together in Quinn's penthouse, Nadia traced patterns on his chest. I think I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered, and it still terrifies me. We'll figure it out, he promised, pulling her closer. One day at a time, 6 months into their relationship, Quinn attended another baby shower, this time for his sister. He'd insisted that Nadia not cater it, wanting her there as his girlfriend, not as staff. As they watched his sister open gifts, Quinn found himself imagining a future he'd never seriously considered before: a home, a family, a life built with someone who saw him for who he really was. Meanwhile, with the help of connections Quinn had made, Pristine Provisions was growing steadily. Nadia had hired 3 new full-time chefs and was considering opening a small cafe as an extension of her brand. She remained firmly in control, turning down offers that would have meant sacrificing her vision. I've been thinking, Quinn said one evening as they cooked dinner together in his kitchen, something that had become their Sunday tradition. My lease is up next month. Nadia glanced at him as she chopped vegetables. Are you moving? I was hoping we might find a place together, he said carefully. Something that's ours, not just mine that you stay at sometimes. She set down her knife. You want us to move in together? I do, Quinn confirmed. I want to build a life with you, Nadia, a real one, not just stolen evenings and weekends. What about my apartment, my independence, we could keep your place for when you need space, he suggested. I'm not asking you to give up anything, I'm asking to add something to both our lives. Nadia considered this. A place that's ours, I like the sound of that, but not a penthouse and not in my tiny apartment either, something in between. Wherever you want, Quinn agreed, relieved and elated, as long as it has a good kitchen. They found a beautiful Victorian home in No Valley with a renovated kitchen that made Nadia's eyes light up and enough office space for Quinn to work remotely when needed. Moving in together was an adjustment for both of them. Quinn had never shared his living space so completely, and Nadia was accustomed to total autonomy. But they navigated the changes together, learning when to compromise and when to stand firm. On their one-year anniversary, Quinn took Nadia back to the tiny coffee shop where they'd had their first date. As they settled at the same table by the window, he reflected on how much had changed in 12 months. "Do you remember what you said to me that day?" he asked. "About your business being everything to you," Nadia smiled. "I was trying to warn you off. Did it work?" "Clearly not," she laughed. "You're more persistent than I gave you credit for. Is your business still everything to you?" Quinn asked, his tone more serious. Nadia reached across the table to take his hand. "It's still incredibly important, but no, it's not everything anymore. You changed that." "You changed things for me too," he admitted. "I used to think success was measured by company valuations and market share. Now I know it's about finding someone who makes even ordinary days extraordinary." He pulled a small velvet box from his pocket and placed it on the table between them. Nadia's eyes widened. "I'm not asking you to give up anything," Quinn said softly. "Your business, your independence, your dreams, they're all part of why I love you. I'm asking if you'll let me be your partner in everything, the way you've become mine." With trembling fingers, Nadia opened the box to find a stunning yet understated ring, a perfect diamond surrounded by smaller sapphires, the exact shade of blue she'd worn on their first date. "Quinn," she whispered, tears gathering in her eyes. "Nadia Patel, will you marry me?" "Yes," she said without hesitation. "Yes, I will." They were married 6 months later in a celebration that perfectly blended their worlds, intimate yet elegant, with food that showcased Nadia's culinary vision and technology that reflected Quinn's innovative spirit. Marcus served as best man, his baby daughter dressed in a tiny flower girl outfit that she promptly drooled on. During the reception, Quinn pulled his new wife onto the dance floor, holding her close as they swayed to the music. "Happy?" he asked. "More than I ever thought possible," she answered honestly. "A year ago, I never would have believed we'd end up here. All because Marcus and Sophia's original Caterer canceled," Quinn mused. "Remind me to send them a thank you gift," Nadia laughed. "I already did." "A gift certificate for a year's worth of pristine provisions catering. Smart business move, Mrs. Donovan," Quinn teased. "I learned from the best, Mr. Patel," she countered, using the nickname she'd given him when he'd surprised her by taking her last name as his middle name during their ceremony. As they danced beneath twinkling lights, surrounded by friends and family, Quinn reflected on the unlikely path that had led them here. He'd attended countless high society events, met celebrities and royalty, dined with world leaders, yet it was a chance encounter with a caterer at a baby shower that had finally shown him what had been missing from his life. "What are you thinking about?" Nadia asked, noticing his contemplative expression. "Just that I'm the luckiest man alive," he replied, pulling her closer, "and that sometimes the most precious things come from the most unexpected places, like finding love while arranging crostini on a silver platter." She suggested with a smile. "Exactly like that," Quinn agreed, bending to kiss his wife as their guests applauded around them. "Exactly like that." 2 years later, Pristine Provisions had expanded to 3 locations across the Bay Area, and Quinn had restructured Donovation Technologies to allow him more time away from the office. They maintained their separate professional identities while building their personal life together, a balance that had taken work, but brought immense fulfillment to them both. And when their daughter was born, they hosted a baby shower catered by Nadia's company, Quinn insisting on serving the guests himself, just as he had fallen in love with Nadia doing years before. At a baby shower he'd nearly skipped.